Hello and welcome to another episode of I Am Not Sure a Trusted Programmer in KSP Rp-1. So last time I checked, after our failed mission, I checked subsequent orbits and saw that we were going to pass a little bit close to the moon. But then said I wouldn't follow up on it because technically I checked the orbit prediction and that's cheating according to my own rules. But then, well, I was time warping while the next rocket is built, and the time warp in my game stutters very early on, so it was going really slow. And I said, well, I might as well just follow the vessel at a decent time warp instead. And well, yeah, in real life, you don't have people time warping through, well, real life, so even if nobody made the calculations for the orbit, people will still be checking the position of the vessel with respect to the moon, and they would have said, oh look, it's actually near right now. So I'm allowing myself this. Right now we're over the moon's midlands, and we're going to get our first signs from the moon. Of course this is not going to get anywhere near, but then I went ahead and rush build as much as I could the next rocket, but it's going to be like 20 days late for the lunar flyby contract. So yeah, that's going to be 250,000 funds hit. So really what I should have done is check this orbit and done a correction, because I still have fuel in this probe. Actually, I may just... I'm going to try to get this probe closer to the moon. No cheating, no just doing radio, but let's see, let's get this science and I'll see what I can do. So yeah, I'll be right back. Change of plans for this episode. Okay, so I'm back, and well, I went to calculate delta V this craft has, and it has around 650 meters per second, which is actually very close to what you need to achieve orbit around the moon when you're like actually passing close to it. But of course we're not, so I really don't think it's going to be enough to get us the 5,000 kilometers distance that we need. It is 5,000 kilometers, right? I really should have checked that before. Yeah. So I decided to just burn radio and burn all the fuel, and let's see how it goes. Okay, here we go. So it seems to be pointing off a little bit from radio. It's probably... I'm trying to get used to just using like the normal non-rotating coordinates for the different bodies. So my code is written like that, and to point radio I had to transform the direction radio was in with respect to that with that reference frame. What? Oh my god, I forgot to change the stage. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, so that's not going to get anywhere close. How much? No, I don't think I can switch to that one because it's just debris now. It doesn't have a controller. This one doesn't have any fuel. Okay, so we're failing that contract. I was going to stick around and see if I got another biome, but none of the experiments are biome dependent, and there's no way we're getting close. So, well, up for the next launch. I'll be back with that. Okay, so before we go to the next launch, I was noticing that by the time the next rocket is complete, I will have orbital rocketry. Now, unfortunately, I was hoping this would give me the AJ-10 that has multiple restarts, but alas, that's not the case. However, I decided that it's time to go for trying to orbit the moon. I know I haven't even gotten near the moon, but you know, I feel stuck. So if I'm going to keep trying to get near the moon, I might as well try to get into orbit as well. And it's not much more expensive. So yeah, this is what I've come up with. This is the probe that was controlling the transfer stage. So I decided to make it the main probe instead of using one of the Pioneer ones, because I could not get the Pioneer probe to get enough delta V to orbit the moon properly. So I just gave it a bunch of solar panels because this probe is very power hungry. And yes, that's a lot of science experiments on it, as you can see. And then I added orbital insertion stage that is using these small thrusters, which unfortunately do require a lid, so I need to keep that in mind. I thought they were like another version of the 1 kilonewton thrusters, but alas, no. And yeah, this is only 2,000 funds more expensive than the Legolas 2, so I'm going to start building one of these. And so basically this technology update, it gives me a few more like first stage engines, but it also gives me upgrades for most of the engines that I already have, so I see if I can then improve it in any significant way. But now let's go for the last launch of the Legolas 2. Okay, so once again, moment of truth. So yeah, obviously I failed the previous lunar flyby contract. It was due, I think, like 5 days ago in the game days. So I accepted a new one. The penalty was just the advance, and well, of course, the reputation hit, but okay. We still have the impactor contract. And I believe I also I took another sounding rocket altitude contract and science from around science that I can do. Again, for this to be valid, it has to be like new science, but it has to actually give me science points. If not, I won't transmit it. So I have to get, because it has the same instruments as the previous Legolas 2, so I have to get in low lunar orbit. Or if not, the nice thing about it, let me just show you, is that the Legolas 3 is 3 days away. So I have a scrapyard installed, which takes into account like stages that you have recovered and such for calculating the build time. But I haven't really gotten the hang of like how to tell it to use the parts I already have. It's trouble. So anyway, if you remember the previous episode, I had a failure on launch that one of the engines did not ignite, so I just recovered that rocket. And apparently those parts did not go into the previous Legolas 2 because, well, actually no, to this Legolas 2 because it was already queued up. So it went to the next rocket that was queued up, which was this one. So yeah, now this time we have 2 tries in a very short amount of time. So yeah, I'm hopeful. Okay, so like always, I'll come back if something bad happens or highlights of the launch. Okay, we actually have a failure. Oh dear. Now the actual question here is, why is it not starting up? Aha. Interesting. So because I still have the thruster from the verniers, it's still not enough for it to decide that it needs to stage. And that's probably costing me, yeah. So Legolas 2 probes just don't want to work. Let's see if this even gets to orbit. There was still some fuel left in those tanks, so... And yeah, I guess technically I need to learn if there's a way to lock resources in a tank using KRPC. I don't know if that's an option to do what I did like this automatically in a program. Strangely enough, the Legolas 3 is actually lighter than the Legolas 2 because I got rid of this whole section over here. So, and that gave me enough delta V to actually get in orbit around the moon. With just the tiny stage that I added. So in theory, the rocket, I think, has more delta V. I didn't check, but so it's if I get failures like that one, it might have an easier time to get into orbit than this one. But let's see, I haven't lost hope. That's actually one thing I've been pondering about. Like right now, I was thinking about the reliability of the engines, and with the new tech, that is the next tech node, which unlocks in like 60 days or 50, I think. There's an improvement to the RD108 and also 107, I think. And I don't know if I should take the hit on my budget to buy the SSTU version, simply because that one has the vernier engine included. So the reason I went for this one was I thought it looked cool, like having the verniers as extra rockets, and I thought they had a test flight light configuration, so it added another level of realism that the vernier could fail. But as it turns out, no, they do not have a test flight configuration, and it's more like engines and particles for the game to compute. So I think I might just, even though I'm paying extra for an engine that I technically already have, I'll just unlock that one and start using it and see the launches go a little bit faster. Yes. And I'm actually not that far off from my target inclination. Actually, no. 0.1 degrees. I'm happy with that. Okay, so like always, time to set up the transfer maneuver. I'll be back when I have it. Okay, so we are back and getting ready to make this burn. And if I get the wiggle again with the main engine, then I think I'm going to have to just also write a code for the a PID controller for when the gimbal is being used, which I'm really not looking forward to. Like, my PID controllers for when we use the RCS also sucks a little bit right now. Look, it really overshot the target. No clue why. My code right now works if it's not rotating significantly at the start, but if it starts with some rotation, yeah, it's bad. Okay, moment of truth. Good light. And the wiggle. Okay, this is actually looking good. Okay, we're halfway through the burn and everything looks nominal. Okay, that worked very well. Now the question is, was the calculated trajectory the correct one? Our inclination is... no, yeah, I did that. I closed the session. If I remember correctly, it was 23.8 degrees, the inclination of the moon. So 0.2 degrees, almost 0.3 degrees off, should be okay. But let's see. So I won't check. Let's see. And once we get into the moon's SOI, if we get into the moon's SOI, I'll just do use all my RCS field to do a retrograde burn and make sure that we lower the perigee enough to hopefully crash into the moon, or if not, at least to complete the flyby contract. Let's close this and use no, not that one. Okay, let's see. So just looking from how the moon has been moving with respect to us, I think we might be off in inclination again. So yeah, our inclination was just, what did I say, 0.3 degrees off, but I didn't check if the longitude of ascending nodes matched, which is something that would also affect the relative inclination between us and the moon. Okay, so I was just checking our trajectory and yep, something did not work. Bloody hell. Are we escaping? Why are we escaping? Okay, yeah, so this time everything worked correctly. No wiggle, no engine shutdown, and still did not work. So I think the problem was that I was making my calculations based on circular orbits, and if I remember correctly, we did the burn very near our perigee, which was like 150 kilometers. And since my code takes, I think the semi-major axis, so it assumed we were at our apogee was 350, I think. Yeah, so yeah, it probably assumed we were over 200 kilometers, so maybe it calculated that we needed a greater speed than no, but actually that doesn't. It calculated we needed more delta V. Now I'm getting confused with this. I need to like now write a code that checks that we are indeed in the correct path before I launch the next mission. So I think the last thing I'm going to do right now is I saw on the map view on the tracking station that the previous Legolas 2 is actually an escape trajectory. So let's see if we get some sun science. I think this one is going to escape as well. I mean, we go Earth-centered. I mean, eventually it comes back around. But I really overshot. That cannot be only an error from having the making the burn too close to perigee. Or maybe it can. I'll see. But okay, according to this, it's coming back. So let's see if we can get some sun science. Okay, I just noticed something weird. Because yeah, I finished building the Legolas 3 and queued up another one. But first of all, it's only a rollout of 1 day and 10 hours, while the Legolas 2 was over 10 days, I think. And it takes 90 days to build one versus 120, I think. So I get for this one, because we're not building the Pioneer upper stage, we're basically attaching everything to the avionics unit of the transfer stage. It's still quite a bit of a difference for that small thing. But the really interesting one is this. So maybe I should see if Raider Nix probes just take too long to roll out, and then I'll just avoid using them. But yeah, anyway, we have 2 Legolas probes on escape trajectory, so if they escape before it's time to launch this one, then I'll do that science. Okay, so it didn't escape before it was time to launch the next one, so we'll do the science another time. So yeah, now I think it's time that I stop being lazy and make my transfer code in 3D, because right now it just assumes that we're on the same plane. So yeah, I need to fix that. How bad was this? Yeah, it was also a bit off on the inclination. Really off actually. So yeah, I have to fix that, and we'll add a another program to check that I'm actually in the right trajectory after I finish the burn. So that will probably take me a while. But yeah, until then, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.